Okay, here we go. For our first story, let's talk about Aaron Judge. We all love some Aaron Judge free agent rumors, and John Heyman has the story. Word going around now is the Dodgers will make a run at Aaron Judge. We've actually heard this in the past month with the Dodgers being connected to Judge, but now that Cody Bellinger has been non-tendered and will become a free agent, now there's some space in the outfield for Judge to potentially slide right into this lineup. They also have a bunch of money coming off the books. Trey Turner, the big one, going to get himself a fat contract. Justin Turner, his club option getting declined. We'll have to see where he ends up going, but they just have a lot of money coming off. David Price, Kershaw, they did bring back, but Kimbrel, he is going to be a free agent, not expected to come back. Heaney, he's getting a lot of interest elsewhere. Tyler Anderson already went to the Angels. Guys like Chris Martin, Kenley, and Kevin Pillar coming off the books as well. So there's a lot of cash for the Dodgers to spend. And as of right now, I mean, you have Mookie Betts out in right and in left. James Outman, I would imagine, is going to get a lot of playing time this coming year. Had himself a fun season last year in a small sample size with the Dodgers. But Trayce Thompson is currently listed as their center fielder. Trayce Thompson, he had some very good moments this past year, very underrated off the bench, but he, to me, is not going to be the starting center fielder. If we take a look at Aaron Judge, he did play some center field, actually played a lot of center field last year, 78 games in center field and 73 over in right. So, hey, they could definitely just go with Judge out in center field, especially now with Bellinger becoming a free agent. They could just bring him back in the end, but this would be incredible if you brought in Aaron Judge. I mean, what a lineup this would be. You already had Mookie Betts and Freeman. I would imagine if you bring Judge in, that would mean Turner is going to go elsewhere. You could just slide in Gavin Lux at short, so there's your fix right there for shortstop. But if you have Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, and Freddie Freeman in this lineup, oh boy, like Trey Turner was already good, but then you add someone like Aaron Judge, who just had himself just an amazing season last year. I mean, look at the numbers that he had. Hit 311, 425 on base, 686 slugging, 62 home runs, of course, breaking the American League record. Roger Maris had 61, a 207 WRC+. This would be absolutely insane. I do wonder how motivated the Dodgers are here. I think they could potentially just be driving up the price for the Giants, who are expected to make a very good run at him. So we'll just have to wait and see how this turns out, especially now with Bellinger coming off the books. Again, they could just bring him back, but it is very interesting because they do have a spot in the outfield open. Let's talk about our next story, and the San Diego Padres have Jose Abreu as a top priority. No surprise here, Jose Abreu would be a really nice fit for the San Diego Padres. If we take a look at their depth chart as of right now, Jake Cronenworth is tabbed at first base according to Fangraphs right now, but I would imagine Cronenworth better fit at second base. He played very well there last year. That would free up first base, as well as designated hitter for someone like Jose Abreu. I think he would be a really nice upgrade for them. Last year, his power was a bit down, 15 homers and a 446 slugging, but still had a good batting average, still got on base a lot last year, a 137 WRC+. I think he would be very nice to the Padres. They were pretty good offensively last year, but another bat like him would only make their lineup that much better. Taking a look at the advanced metrics, if you take a look here with Jose Abreu, exit velocity actually did go up this year against fastballs as well as off speed. They did go down, or did go down a little bit with breaking balls, but nothing too much of concern there. The one thing with Jose Abreu, though, his launch angles really went down against breaking balls, especially. Went from 17 degrees in 2021 to 10 degrees in 2022. So more line drives last year for Jose Abreu. They also went down against fastballs, went up a little bit against off speed, but Jose Abreu, this guy can still hit very well. And at Petco, according to the spray chart from last year, he would have actually had some balls leave the yard last year. So Jose Abreu, I think, would be a very nice fit for the San Diego Padres. Speaking of the Padres, they just met with Japanese pitcher Kodai Senga. They will be one of many teams trying to acquire his services, and for good reason. Take a look at his numbers from last year in Japan. Over 23 starts, a 1.89 ERA, right around 10 strikeouts per 9. This guy is the real deal. Huge fastball, tops out at around 100 miles an hour, sits in the mid-90s, has nasty off-speed stuff. Go check out his forkball if you haven't seen it already. It is absolutely nasty. But Scouts think that he is going to be really good in the major leagues. They think his stuff is going to translate well to Major League Baseball. And despite the most starts that he's made recently in Japan, 26 in one season, not very much, not a lot of starts there, but they think he's going to be able to translate well durability wise, because his velocity has held up well in the later innings in his starts. So let's talk about Senga here for the Padres. Obviously, Yu Darvish, Snell, Musgrove, a very good 1-2-3. But if you could add someone like this would be absolutely amazing if you ask me. At the very worst, scouts think if he doesn't make it as a starter in the major leagues, he is going to be a really valuable weapon in the bullpen. So Kodai Senga, man, this guy I think is one of the more underrated free agents this year. I feel like not a lot of people are paying attention to what he can bring to the table. And as for the Mets, we just said here that the Padres met with him, but the Mets also met with Kodai Senga a couple of days ago. He would be a big addition for them as well. Who knows what happens with Jacob deGrom if you don't bring him back. Someone like Kodai Senga and the stuff that he has with the velocity that he has, sure, is he probably not going to be Jacob deGrom, level of talent-wise, but, I mean, his stuff could be really nice for this rotation. They also did just bring in Eliezer Hernandez. Who knows what kind of a role he has with the Mets. But Kodai Senga would be a really nice addition for the Mets as well. He'd be a good addition for any of these teams. A lot of teams are showing interest. The Angels, the Red Sox, the Rangers, Blue Jays, Mariners, Cubs, Dodgers. Hey, who knows where he ends up. But if he does land with the Padres and the Mets, that would be a great addition for those teams. On to our next story, and let's stay out west, but in the American League. Could the Mariners make another trade? They are showing interest in Gleyber Torres, according to Joel Sherman of the New York Post. Remember, they just traded for Teoscar Hernandez this past week, and Gleyber Torres could be another target for the Seattle Mariners. As of right now, with the Mariners, they could use someone at second base. Adam Frazier heading out of town. Most likely, I would think he's going to sign elsewhere. Dylan Moore, as of right now, is tabbed as the second baseman, but I definitely think they could use a bit of an upgrade. And Gleyber Torres could be a really nice fit. Not a free agent until 2025, so he has some control there. And Gleyber last year really improved from the previous year. They finally shifted him back to second base full time. My goodness, it took so long for them to take him off of shortstop. I don't know what the heck they were thinking over there in Yankee land, but last year he seemed a lot more comfortable overall. Hit 257. The on base was a little low at 310. A 451 slugging is pretty decent though. 24 home runs. Really picked it up with the power in the previous year in 2021. Only had 9 homers, but that went up to 24. 51 RBIs went up to 76. Overall, a huge improvement for Gleyber Torres last year. And you can even see it in the advanced metrics. Taking a look here, average exit velocity, max exit velocity, hard hit percentage, those all went up from 2021. I think just overall, Gleyber Torres, he wasn't fixated so much at trying to be a good shortstop. They shifted him back to a position that he's good at. I think he was able to just kind of clear his mind and just focus a bit more offensively. And you can see everything greatly improved. Now, what would a Gleyber Torres trade look like? As of right now, he has a $4.6 million value. And I think for the Yankees, if you're going to be trading Gleyber Torres, I mean, who knows if they would even want to trade Gleyber Torres, but if the Yankees were to trade him, I could see them maybe wanting some bullpen help. They had a lot of injuries in the second half last year, so I could see them targeting one of these Mariners relievers. If we take a look here, now this might sound a little bit crazy, but maybe someone like a Paul Sewald. He had a big meltdown in the playoffs last year. Did not pitch well against the Blue Jays. Didn't pitch well against the Astros. Maybe the Mariners could think about it. I don't know. He is their closer. It'll be interesting, but they do have some other options in this bullpen. Could you maybe look at someone like an Andres Munoz, who, man, he really had himself a good year last year. Could you maybe look at him as a closer? I don't know. But with the Yankees, I could maybe see them wanting some guys for their bullpen. Maybe someone like a Diego Castillo, or like I said, a Paul Sewald. Their values right around the $6 million range. Maybe you could put Gleyber Torres, with a prospect or something, maybe nab one of those guys. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Would the Mariners also want to trade another reliever? They just traded another reliever for Teoscar Hernandez this past week. So I think it's very interesting that the Mariners are looking at a Gleyber Torres. Torres has been tabbed as a trade candidate this offseason by multiple people. So we'll just have to wait and see where this one goes. Speaking of the Yankees, let's talk about a former Yankee, Gio Urshela. Remember, they traded him to the Twins last offseason in the Josh Donaldson trade. But Gio Urshela has been traded again, going to the Angels, a rather interesting move. This actually happened yesterday. All the Cody Bellinger talk was stealing the headlines yesterday, and this was a low-key, under-the-radar trade that was made. If we take a look here at the trade itself, going back to the Twins, we have a pitching prospect, Alejandro Hidalgo, and Urshela, who has a value of $0.4 million, heading back to the Angels. This is interesting overall. Now, I like Gio Urshela as a player. I think he's really solid. I've always appreciated him. Hit 285 last year, a 338 on base, slugging at 429. But Gio Urshela, I've always liked him because he gets enough done with the bat, but he also plays pretty well out in the field. Now, Gio Urshela, he has been a really solid second baseman in his career, but it's looking like as of right now, at least as of right now, he's the shortstop for the Angels. Because if you take a look at third base, don't forget, they got Anthony Rendon at the hot corner, so there's no way. I understand Rendon has just been one of the worst contracts in baseball as of late, but they're not going to take Rendon off of third base. So Urshela, as of right now, they do need a shortstop. They have not had good production from the shortstop position the last couple of years. So as of right now, Urshela is looking like the shortstop, unless maybe they could go after another shortstop and then you can shift him over to second possibly. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. Now, I find it interesting because he hasn't been a bad shortstop in his career, but he hasn't been great overall. 2018, he played some shortstop for the Blue Jays. In 2021, he played some shortstop as well for the Yankees. And we take a look here for his career, -3 defensive runs saved, -0.6 UZR. He's obviously been a good third baseman. I guess the Angels think, well, okay, we think this guy has been really good at third. We have confidence that he can shift over to short. So, hey, either way, I love Gio Urshela. I think he's a really solid player. And, hey, for the Angels, I think it's a good move. And on the other side of the trade, we have Alejandro Hidalgo going back to the Twins. As of right now, he is their number 25 prospect. Taking a look at his scouting report, 50 fastball for the future, but the curveball at a 60 has some good spin to it. I definitely think Hidalgo is an interesting prospect to get back for the Twins. If we take a look at his numbers overall, the big one that sticks out are the strikeouts, 13 strikeouts per 9. His walks did tick up from 3 in 2021 to above 4 in 2022. However, he did limit the home runs a lot more, under a home run per 9 in single A last year over the 10 starts, a 4.62 ERA, 3.94 FIP is a lot better, but Hidalgo, hey, we'll just have to wait and see how he develops. Now for the Twins, this really does free up some space in the infield. You kind of had a bit of a logjam there, but now you got Miranda going into third. He should be able to handle third base on a full-time basis. Polanco, he can go back to short. Arise is listed as the first baseman here. And as for second base, you got Nick Gordon. I do expect the Twins to add something. Could they go after one of the shortstops? I've been seeing maybe the Twins as a possible location for Dansby Swanson. Could you go that route? We'll just have to wait and see. But I do expect the Twins to make some kind of a follow-up move, whether if it's something in their infield, adding another bat, or maybe they could just use the money freed up from Urshela. Maybe they could use that for maybe some bullpen help, or maybe even some starting pitching. Hot dog, I get to talk about my Red Sox, and the latest target for the Red Sox, they're focused on pitching, and they're looking at Corey Kluber, according to Alex Spire of the Boston Globe. No surprise here, they've been connected with Corey Kluber the last 2 off seasons before he went to the Yankees and before he went to the Rays. They came pretty close to signing him both times, but in the end, went elsewhere in the American League East. But I would not be surprised to see Kluber go to the Red Sox this offseason. Hey, maybe third time's a charm. But there's no surprise here that Chaim Bloom would like someone like Corey Kluber. He has brought in pitchers in the past that limit the hard hit balls. As you can see here, average exit velocity with Corey Kluber in the top 20%, in the top 25% in hard hit percentage, but he also limits the walks as well. Corey Kluber is insane when it comes to keeping the walks walks down. Look at the 1.15 walks per 9. Are you kidding me? Limits the home runs too. No surprise at all to see the Red Sox wanting Corey Kluber the last few off seasons, and the Red Sox could really use him. If we take a look at the rotation as of right now, Chris Sale, who knows what ends up happening with Chris Sale this season? You just never know what's going to happen with him health-wise. Nick Pivetta had an up-and-down season last year. Brian Bayo, really excited to see what he can do, but he is still very young. James Paxton is a complete question mark. You don't even know what the heck you're going to get out of that guy. And Garrett Whitlock, he has been very good in the bullpen, but they are wanting to move him to the starting rotation. Who knows? I mean, maybe they could end up moving him back to the bullpen at some point. It's just question marks all over the place in this Red Sox starting pitching rotation. And if we take a look at the Red Sox last year, in the second half, they were 22nd in Fangraph WAR. And if we actually take a look at the walks per 9 as well, the Red Sox were very bad at keeping the walks down. If we take a look here, 21st overall in walks per 9 in the second half. So again, no surprise to see them wanting someone like a Corey Kluber who can limit the exit velocity as well as keep the walks down. We'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening here. The Red Sox, they are tied to multiple starting pitchers. Kodai Senga is one. Andrew Heaney is another. Seth Lugo. And they were interested in Tyler Anderson before he went to the Angels. And don't forget, you got Nathan Eovaldi, who's still out there. They offered him the qualifying offer. And don't forget about Rich Hill. They're still interested in bringing him back as well. Most likely with the Red Sox, they're not going to be bringing in any of the top tier guys like a Jacob deGrom, Carlos Rodon, Verlander, or even someone like a Chris Bassett. I've always thought that when it comes to Chaim Bloom, he's always looked for value when it comes to pitching. But Corey Kluber makes a lot of sense because he's not going to cost a lot of money. In the end, I think he would be a great fit for the Red Sox. And for our last story, the Giants are interested in Kenley Jansen. What an interesting pairing this would be. Jansen being with the Dodgers for so many years and playing against the Giants so many times, division rival. But Kenley Jansen, I think, would be a really nice fit for the San Francisco Giants. As of right now, Camille Duvall is their closer. Had a pretty decent season last year. Had 27 saves. Had a 2.53 ERA, a 2.98 FIP, over 10 strikeouts per 9. The walks were a little high, right around 4 per 9. But in my opinion, I think if you could get someone like a Kenley Jansen, that would be huge for this bullpen. He continues to be one of the best closers in the game. Last year, 65 games for the Braves, a 3.38 ERA, 3.21 FIP. But for the Giants, where he would really help improve this bullpen are the strikeouts. He had 12 strikeouts per 9 last year, 3 walks per 9. When it comes to the Giants' strikeouts in their bullpen last year, they were 28th overall with 8 strikeouts per 9. They need a boost there. When it comes to their bullpen overall, 18th in Fangraph WAR last year, so they definitely could use a bit of a boost. In the end, I think this would be a really nice fit if the Giants can bring him in. They've obviously been connected with Aaron Judge, but don't forget, they got to improve some of these other aspects of the team if they want to be competitive with the Dodgers, the Padres. And don't forget as well, he has connections with Gabe Kapler, Farhan Zaidi. So, hey, I think this would be a nice pairing overall. Be interesting to see what the Giants end up doing here. But let me know your thoughts on all of the stories in today's video. But that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.